Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Orta Know Better. I'm joined by Jay. How you doing, Jay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. No silly waves tonight.
Sweet, happy days. I'm joined by Smarty as well. How you getting on, buddy? Loving the
Bonjour.
jersey.
I'll give you a little wave.
Cooey!
Can always rely on you
And we're
tonight.
joined by Matt tonight in place of Adam, who was indisposed tonight. So Matt's decided to jump in his clobber. Matt, you're looking very well there tonight, bud. I must say, you've made quite the effort compared to us slouches, I think. So yeah, no, it's good to see you boys. Here for another session anyway. Jay, you had your little cameo on All Leeds TV last night. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it was good, that. Listen, I was representing, okay? You've got to appeal to a broad audience.
Yeah, you do.
So don't you guys give me any shit. It will
we'll try not to.
After me.
No, to be fair, we gave you an inordinate amount of shit while you were on there.
Yeah,
I wasn't even on the show, even I was getting shit.
It were loads of fun.
I'd have expected nothing less from you guys, to be fair. So
Smarty got rinsed once or twice, and he wasn't even on the leading show.
Smarty deserved it.
I gave what I got.
This is it, Smarty.
Karma.
You know
that was karma for trying to fuck me over on my appearance.
Well, you'll get your chance at some point.
Can I just point out we've had a wave from the audience.
Hey up, Haley. How's it going,
Haley?
Hey.
That's a wave for you.
You're never living that down, Jay, man. That's going to be the way it's going for the rest of this season. You're going to have to do something even weirder than that for next season.
I've been known for worse. I can live with that.
All right, as long as you can live with that.
I'm going to saying bye-bye tonight.
Oh, mate, we'll see.
Sure, we'll get straight into it anyway, just because,
Karl.
if we don't, Jay's going to get absolutely rinsed. So let's just carry on. Gilly, we'll go to you first for the predictions. How did everyone get on this week, man?
No, nil point, as in no points at all, anywhere.
Wow.
Nothing.
For anybody.
Screwed on a -5.
Well, no, because Leeds didn't win.
No, because we don't do it, unless it's an actual win. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that previously Luke were talking about it. Well, if you're back against Leeds and Leeds get a draw, we should like -3, -2, whatever. But we've not done that this season. So yeah, every single person bar one went for a Leeds win, and that was Jason went for a scum win, 3-1. But yeah, nobody went for a draw at all. So nil point this week, as you were.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the second week on the trot now we've had nil point for everyone, isn't it?
No, Mez got 3 points and Bren got 5 points against Liverpool.
All right, okay. There was a week there where everyone got nothing as well, wasn't there?
Your head's up your ass, Karl. You need to sort it out.
Sheffield United, every single person got a single point.
Okay, maybe I fucked up there.
The table was exactly the same, just everybody had one more point.
All right.
You're really pressuring me here. No, there were the Chelsea game. There were.
I'm not prepared.
The West Ham game. There were 2 lots of points. Here we go.
Where's my spreadsheet?
The Villa game. Is my spreadsheet's here? Don't you? Wait for it to load. I'm just giving you the last 8 fixtures. I don't have it all in my head. I'm not Rain Man. The Villa game, every single person went for a Leeds win. Okay. It didn't go our way, so nobody got a point. But yeah, this time around, nil point, because most people went for Leeds, but obviously we got a draw.
Right, well that's okay. I suppose going on that one.
Get in! Sorry,
who scored?
Chelsea have just conceded.
Who was?
Come on.
Oh, you must be in front of me. They're just taking a corner. Never mind.
Oh,
I'm
everyone watching this.
I'm watching game reflected in Matt's shiny chrome light switch there.
Oh, that's true.
I thought you were going to talk about his head.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a bald joke as well.
Anyway, look, this is a Leeds pod, Matt. We won't talk about Chelsea unless we see it, lose your absolute mind. So we'll get on to the game on Sunday there. We'll start with you, Smarts. What did you make of it, and was there a man of the match this week?
Yeah, man of match this week didn't get man of match. Paul Lorente. Not a difficult one. I thought it would. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. I think I was expecting to lose. I think throughout it, whilst we were getting battered, and I don't really like us sitting in. We're the only ever time I think I've thought, well, I just want this fucking game to hurry up and finish. To be honest, it was one of them. We never really looked like we were in any, sort of attacking. We just looked shit. We didn't look shit. That's harsh. We just didn't look like we were going to score. At no point through the game did I think, we're going to break and we're going to smash one in. I think we're really, really poor attacking wise without Raf. He offers so much going forward. He's such a brilliant outlet, and we didn't have that. But defensively, though, I thought the team played absolutely fantastically. Really, really good defensive performance. I thought the guys did really well, but it wasn't exactly a spectacle, was it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, but it's a point against some fucking shitbag wankers, so I'm happy.
This is very true. I was going to go back to the point you made there about Raf not being in the team. Do you think has Bielsa kind of realised that our attacking threat isn't as much when Raf isn't in the team, so he kind of reverts now, and he's kind of, not gone as balls out as we normally have, but he's kind of gone, right, we need to be a bit more cautious about these things perhaps because we don't have that outlet in Raf. Do you think over the last couple of games, has that been the case, or do you think is it because we're playing against bigger teams and he just wants to be more cautious?
I don't think it's that. I think it might be because we were playing that specific team, we were being maybe a bit more cautious, from obviously the first game being absolutely pumped 6-2. I think we played better against Liverpool. I thought we were fantastic counter-wise against City. I think there may have just been a little bit of a hangover from the previous game, which was why we're maybe being a bit more cautious. I think that might have been it. I could be reading into it wrong, but I don't want to praise them, but they can turn teams over quite quickly. And I think, playing it safe, which is not what we do, but we seem to do on at the weekend, I think it was the best option for us probably. And I hate being boring and saying, no, it was shy. I'd much rather talk about how we were attacking and we were, but we really weren't, were we? There were a couple of options, there were a couple of it bits, but it was a bit flat. But again, we'll take it, won't we?
Yeah, we will indeed. It's a point at home. We've got probably the best record at home against the top 6 in the Premier League this season, so that's something to take away from it. Jay, what did you make of the performance overall?
Pretty much what Smarty said, to be honest. It were very much sort of, it were workmanlike, getting a job done sort of thing. It wasn't like a flair performance where we looked like a threat and we looked like we were going to burst through at any second and grab a goal. It was solid and unspectacular, but perhaps it sort of shows how far we've come, that we can have an unspectacular game against a team like those bastards and come out of it with something, you know what I mean? The guys last night on All Leeds TV had something about like goals conceded and points won, stuff like that in the second half of the season compared to the start. And we've just tightened up loads. Like, we're just not shipping as many goals. We're not having as much of the ball. We're not having as many shots, but we're not conceding as many either. You know what I mean? It's like we seem to have tightened up. And it looks like the way we play now has sort of evolved a bit. Like, the players have settled down. They've found the level. They've adapted to this league, and they can stand toe-to-toe with most teams. You know what I mean? As I say, there were nothing really spectacular, and we do lack that outlet without Raf, because for all our sort of passing and build-up play and stuff, he's one of those guys that just can make something happen out of nothing. Like, you could give him the ball and he could be by the bloody touchline and 3 guys around him. Suddenly he'll backheel it through someone's legs, spin around the other 2 and run past them, do you know what I mean, and whip a ball in. And I'm not sure anyone else has quite got the flair that he's got, and we did miss him a lot, I think. But Karl did a great job defensively. Got to give him a shout out for that. He didn't look out of place at all, and he took pretty much a world-class player out of the game and made him anonymous.
Yeah, I think on the Raf thing, I think the way he settled in, it's kind of put poor old Jack on the bit of a back burner at the moment. Jack's kind of lost a bit of form now, and let's be honest, he's not been on his best game for the last couple of games. Like he'd kind of been blowing hot and cold since after Christmas, I think, myself personally. But Gilly, do you think with not having Raf in the team, it puts a lot more pressure on the likes of Jack and the likes of Costa to create more, and therefore the pressure of having that on you the whole time is kind of having a knock-on effect on his performances?
I think it does. It certainly, there's more emphasis on Jackie to be a creator without Rafinha there, without a doubt. They know that he's that that driving force in our attack that others have to shoulder the burden of when he's not there. I think, I made a similar point about Jackie and the fact that he had to sit out the City game because it's his parent club, and then he's not been really on his game when he's come back in. But when you also consider the opposition he's had to come back in against, having missed out for a couple of weeks, it's not the easiest games to be reintroduced to.
Yeah.
So especially given just how much the fullbacks pushed on against the Scum, they really did occupy our wingers and they really did force us back on the flanks. So it wasn't the easiest of games, and we know that he's always going to put shift in. We know that he's always an outlet for us with his how excellent his first touch is. I think personally that we might see him shine against Brighton. I really do. And I hope that's the case because I do rate him as a player, but he has been off the boil for the last couple of games, and I hope that really comes to the fore in the next one.
Yeah, I think that's the case now. Like, I think the games against the lower side, well, our relegation rivals, I think he's taken advantage of those and put in some really good performances, and it's just a shame that he had to miss the City game because I think one of them kind of games for him would be like, I'm well up for this. You've sold me on now. This is it's my time to prove you wrong. Like, it's kind of like even an Ian Poveda scenario there where he got his chance and he kind of took it a bit, like, and I think there's a few players in the team now where we just kind of have to. I think we have to start looking at them and going, right, okay, lads, we need to kind of get back to where we were October, November time and up the game a little bit. And I think these last few games, it's nice to have these last few games coming into the end of the season where they're not expected to go out and absolutely trolley someone, but just get a result, if you get me. And it'll be good for the confidence for the end of the season going into pre-season and the start of next season, I think. But I think, like Gilly, you lot had a good old chat with Luke last night on the Berardi and Coke, on Sunday after the game. A couple of the guests you had on was any other kind of input, anything similar to what you might have come out with if you hadn't had them on, or?
Fucking hell, I've slept twice since then.
Yeah, I know you have. Yeah. So I'm putting you on the spotlight.
Stressful day, lad. Leave him alone.
Yeah, he's only drove to Newcastle and back. Like,
I think one of the points that Simon made in terms of his appreciation of the formations that we're playing. We're talking about not being quite as attacking, and the kind of change in dynamic of being able to game manage we spoke about. And I think that's an element that Leeds have added as we've gone through the season, is that it's gaining that experience of being able to game manage. When you're under the cosh a bit, or when the other side has more of the ball, we were dominating people by having all of the ball early on in the season, and we're not doing that at the moment. But we're not looking as vulnerable now without the ball as we did in those periods that we didn't have it early on in the season. And I think that's the interesting dynamic, and finding that balance between being able to really drive at the opposition when you do have good possession, and being able to be defensively sound when you don't have the ball. That's something that's come to the fore, certainly in this year, where we don't look that vulnerable now. And having Alioski at left back and not looking vulnerable in defence is really quite an accolade.
Yeah, it is a little bit. All right. Yeah, going back to what you were saying there about the formations and stuff, the one thing I would fear from that is that we fall into the same trap as Wolves have fallen into, where they were ultra attacking like us in the first season. They absolutely went at everyone and they got, good results from it. And then Nuno has decided to completely change their game. And I know Bielsa won't, because he's full on. He wants it all the time. But it's just some of the last few games, I've kind of noticed that it has been quite like a Wolves performance, in that we're just sit there and we're kind of, obviously it's against who we're playing, but it just looks very similar to a Wolves performance for me.
I think you're being a bit harsh on Wolves there, because you take an attacker at the capability level of Jimenez out of any side in the world, and they're going to be impacted by that. And they also lost Jota. Jota played really well against us, and he is a capable player. So you take those players out of any side in the world, and they're going to be impacted. But you take them out of a side that's just a chip black countryside, it's really going to hurt them.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of my fears that I hope we don't go down that route. And I know as long as we have Bielsa, I don't think we will. But that's just one of the things that I've been kind of looking at and seeing Wolves. Like you said, it's a bit harsh on Wolves, but none of us here, I don't think anyway, believe that Wolves should have got 6 points off us this year.
No.
So that they have, for us to sit here and then look at Wolves last year and the year before, whatever, and go, Jesus, if they'd have done that to us last year, we'd have been like, that's a fair 6 points. But for them to do it this year is just a bit annoying.
Yeah, you put yourself in the shoes of a City fan.
Yeah,
they've had 1 point off us this season.
Yeah. That's true, actually. Yeah. But I think we played more. I love it. I think we played a lot better than Wolves have played against.
They did back us a bit, Wolves, in a few teams that have beaten us this year, especially the lower ones like Brighton. Wolves especially. Yeah, Villa again, definitely part of the bus and up for a result.
They shouldn't have beat us, but did. And
but those are the sort of teams that are quite happy to sit back and take all the pressure and then potentially counter or wait for a set piece or whatever.
Well,
those are the sort of teams that do that. Exactly. And that, like you say, that's game management, isn't it? At the end of the day, a team's weaknesses, you're going to exploit them, aren't you? So, for us, going alpha leather at the start of the season and now being probably a little bit more reserved is paying dividends, isn't it? We're getting results.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I
think we won in the first half of the season.
78 million Maguire, Leeds starting 11, 66 million.
Well, but you say Leeds starting 11 is 66 million. But there were no Raf, there were no Rodrigo, there were only Llorente that were playing. What were Llorente? 17 million. So you've probably got 25 million team there. Most of it were championship team.
Yeah,
it's an expensive fridge.
So take Rodrigo and Rafinha straight out of there, couldn't you?
Yeah. All I've gathered from that now is that Luke knows how to count. Well, thanks for that, Luke, man. Plus, we were playing against a team on the field of over 500 million. Let's be honest, their team on paper is absolutely ridiculous and should have wiped the floor with us. If they hadn't got a bus driver for a bleeding coach, they'd have probably wiped the floor with half the league. Let's be honest. Well, thank God they have, but Jesus Christ, a 500 million pound team, we shouldn't be sitting here going, we got a draw out of them. We should have been sitting here going, what the fuck happened there? But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but look, that's their issue to deal with. We're cool, man. We've got a, good owner. We're all good.
So we'll move on. Fuck the scum, and fuck scummers turning up outside Elland Road and then in their fucking kit and going, give us help to get rid of Glazers, and then complaining that they get called scum.
Get fucked off, you fucking assholes. Take your side and get fucked. He should have had that man snapped over his fucking head, the daft bastard.
Take a fucking long walk off a short pier, you pricks. Anyway, we'll move on from there because we're all starting to get a little bit angry about the scum there. So, Smarty, we'll push on to you here now with the polls, Smarts. Do you want to take it away there? And it was, from what I was watching earlier on, it was fierce tight,
Very,
so I don't even know what won.
we all like things, quite tight, but not polls. Not on the Orta Know Better podcast. We don't like tight polls.
No.
As you know, each week we ask the listeners via a pod, via our via a poll on our Twitter.
This is live. I can't save you now.
No editing there, boy.
No pressure. Via a poll on our Twitter account to vote for the main subject of the pod. The options this week was: is it time for Pervader to get a first 11 start? Qualifying for Europe, a pipe dream. Bielsa's style evolution, what's changed? And is Somerville the new Mbappe? Now, that was a comment, as Gilly told me, made by who? Greenwood? Greenwood.
Yeah.
And like I say, it was mega tight. Pervader were 27%, European Dream 23%, some Mbappe 21%, but Bielsa's style revolution 29%. So we've never had a poll as tight as that. Okay. So to kick off then, Bielsa's style revolution, I'm going to come to you, Karl. What has changed? Okay. I think we've covered it a little bit, but
we kind of have, haven't we?
We're going to say
why did you say something while we were talking about it?
Crack on.
Sure, look, you know what? You can edit this later, Gilly. It'll be fine.
Yeah, all right.
We touched on it there just in the chat about the Scum game, and like I was saying, I think the way it's gone against the last 4 games against the big 6, I'm going to refer to them like that anymore because, quite frankly, any teams that are a point or two above us at the moment don't really class as the big 6, in my opinion. Sorry. So basically, I thought Bielsa's style against them again was just quite cautious, I think. But I also go back to Gilly's point from earlier where their fullbacks were pushing on at us quite a bit, so it kind of gave them the impetus to attack us, and we didn't have that outlet with Raf on one side and Jack on the other. I don't think Costa was as effective in that game as he probably should have been. But the style of play is, I'm glad that he's kind of altered the style of play because it was something that we were screaming out for at the start of the season when we were getting when we were getting beat a few times. Like, we were kind of like, Jesus, maybe just back up a little bit there, Marcelo, and just soak up the pressure a bit like teams are doing to us. And now that he's done it, I'm quite disappointed that we're not going balls out and attacking everyone. So I'm a very hard fucker to please, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, when it comes to Leeds. But I think the formation's the same. It's just our attacking is just not the same. We're in the same. We're playing the same shape, but we're just not. We're not attacking in the same vein as we did previously. So he's looking at it more attack minded, I think. So I'm not happy with it. But then again, I'd take a point against the Scum and be happy with it. That kind of way.
It's interesting how that he dropped Pogba and put in Daniel James in it, just for that extra edge. Now, is that because Pogba's a lazy bastard, and that James is ill? He's got a lot of energy to burn. I think it probably is, and maybe they were, anticipating countering us a lot. But like you say, defensively, very, very good. Gilly, what's your thoughts on his change of style? Was there a change of style, or maybe just a momentary sort of thing?
Touching on what you mentioned there about Pogba, so Luke actually brought that up on the I think it was stats rather than B&C, where Fernandes and Pogba are both really lazy. Now, if you're playing against a side if you're playing against a Crystal Palace that's got nothing in defence and nothing in attack, you can afford to play them both. But when you're playing against a team that's going to harry and press and get in your faces like Leeds, you can't afford to play them both. Now that's brilliant. I love thinking about the fact that a PE teacher's got to sit there and think of a £90+ million player can't play because they're playing against Leeds. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
You did Jack.
Well, yeah. So but I mean, for me, we talk about defensiveness versus offensiveness and a change in style. We have lost Rafinha, and that is a big deal to us. Harrison wasn't available for City. He's a big deal for us as well. And one of the main reasons that we're looking more solid defensively is that we've got our defenders available. It's fairly
Imagine that.
simple when you say it.
Jay's favourite defender isn't available though.
That's true. Although I struggle to work out now whether he hates Llorente more or Cooper more. But once Cooper's back fit,
anyone's guess.
I like Llorente.
You're just a Leeds hating bastard. You look like
him.
fucking Brolin. You're a Leeds hating bastard.
Get fucked, Tron.
That's fake.
So yeah, when you look at it like that, for times we've not had KP available. For times Cooper and we had Ayling playing at centre back. We didn't have centre backs available to us, and we're playing in there with Struijk that. He's had a marvelous season, actually. If you consider where he was before the start of the season, and thinking, he's only had a handful of appearances. Is he going to make a step up? Well, absolutely yes, is the answer to that. But it was almost an unknown prospect. He was behind. I can't even remember his name now. Is it being with H? He ended up at Halme at Barnsley. He was behind him in the pecking order at one point. Now look what he's done since. So from that sort of perspective, you couldn't have written just how well he'd have done this season. So we had him in midfield. We then had times without Cooper. We've had times without Koch. We've had times without Llorente. Ayling's had to switch inside. Now that we're getting more settled in defence, it's no surprise that the defence is playing better.
Mm.
So Jay, it's tall people. Actually, that might be the thing. That might be a truism. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Not in the slightest, no.
Maybe
Sean Dyche.
So yeah, is it a change of style, or is it just that having better players available means that you can play better in those positions?
Yeah, or just an adaptation, depending on the game.
Time will tell. I think you're right, Gilly.
I suppose having experience at the back in Llorente, being able to guide Struijk, would kind of shore up a lot of things.
Do you not think Cooper does that? No, do you not think he gets that from Cooper and Koch?
Oh, I do. Yeah. I'm saying because Llorente's been in at the moment and Cooper's been out. It just seems it's solid. Like I'm not saying it doesn't get.
You were on the recording last night. How is it that you say Struijk's name? Because we were told, weren't we?
I'm not going to even attempt to repeat it the way that guy said. No,
was it?
Go on, give it a whirl. Maybe else as well.
Streak.
He said something like streak.
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 Yeah.
I've always said strike, but
I say strike.
What do I know?
Teresa says I say strike.
Strike. I say strike. Go on, Teresa.
Teresa might not be wrong, depending on the,
I say
Dutch,
I say strike.
I say strike, but streak, I think he said.
I remember when people used to call click, clitch.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Just,
I mean, when you get right down to it, I think as long as you're not calling Bielsa Marco, you kind of
you'd be working
Marco
for BT
Bielsa.
then.
I think you were right about some of that with the defenders, though, Gilly. I think it's the fact that we're now putting round pegs in round holes instead of square pegs in round holes. It makes such a difference. Yeah,
I think Galley is still maybe squarish. Squarish. He's not necessarily round.
He's not round. He's not a square. He's kind of.
It's kind of a. It's kind of a.
Squeeze him in.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Putting Ayling in there is not the same as putting Llorente in there, or even Cooper. And I'd rather see Cooper play centre back than Ayling because it's his position. Do you know what I mean?
Christ.
Yeah, Ayling can do it. But
Can we have a ding? Can we have a bell? Have we got a bell?
Have we got a klaxon?
I'll always be fair.
Fucking
Yeah,
a revelation from Jay.
I'll always be fair. I don't slate people just for nothing.
Give me thoughts on the poll, please.
On the poll, the revolution. Yeah, I mean, just what I've said already, really. The round pegs in round holes, we've got the right players in the right positions. We're not makeshift.
You don't think of pegs?
I have,
Well,
mate.
you got a fascination with fucking pegs.
Yeah, that's me.
I bet he doesn't even have a washing line.
I don't, actually.
Can I just say, Pegs is one of the best games I've ever played on a stag ever. It's brilliant.
You have to fill me in on that later.
I don't even know what that is, Gilly.
Oh, it's honestly, it'll take 2 seconds to tell you. So you keep an eye on the clock. You've got 1 or maybe 2 pegs in a big group. Whoever's got a peg pegged to their clothes when it hits the hour, they've got to down whatever drink they're holding. Great. It's fantastic.
That's not a bad shirt,
5 minutes up to every hour, everybody's looking around, and if you can get somebody that's conscious of it, but then every so often somebody will just get into a conversation at the bar or whatever. Everybody else will know that there's 2 pegs on them, and they're gonna have to do 2 drinks.
Oh, fucking hell!
It's great.
Used to see people walking around fully pegged up in Frontier on their
Vincent races covered in pegs.
Have you just taken out a washing line?
Half of them in Frontier have been dressed in stuff of nicked off washing lines on the way there, so some of them still had pegs on.
Calm down. You'll be upsetting a lot of people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who adore the washing lines.
I went to Frontier one time and ended up chasing somebody up the road because he pulled one of the lads out of a taxi. I'm ignoring him.
Do you love pegging, Jay?
Oh, Jesus, Marion, so close.
I don't think you meant me.
These were a lot safer.
To be fair, all I said was I like watching.
Man, these pods are a lot safer to do when we could edit this shit out.
Moving on.
Moving on. Smarty. Carry on.
No, I think we're done football. To be honest, I think we've talked about everything, including pegs. So and how we love pegging.
We've stopped being caught with his pants down so much, but that might not be the right thing to say now.
It's a news
Not right now.
No, definitely not now. I wouldn't recommend it at all. So
we need a pegging championship.
No, we don't. Move on. Move on.
Gilly, you brought something up in the chat earlier on. You said it in a voice note that I said I'd bring up after this, but
Christ.
I can't listen to it at the moment. To see what you said.
No. It's fine. From a perspective of the social media blackout, I think is the subject that we were talking about.
Thank you.
We're in a position where the social media teams across the clubs and so on, just it's been brought to a head by some racist abuse that has come to the fore recently. The players have just they've had enough, and a lot of players have now handed over their social media accounts to media teams that run them for them. And do you know what? I'm kind of, if you look at the way that Liam Cooper's interacted with fans recently, I appreciate that. He's been really open, and you can tell that he's the player that's behind it. But very often it's vanilla.
That's because you're a Cooper.
He knows you're waiting.
He's you blocked.
A lot of the players on Insta, on Twitter, their accounts are so beige, vanilla, just generic, really playing it safe, really generic messages.
Great 3 points today.
Yeah, well played to all the guys. And that'll be about it. It means nothing when it's not the player that's doing it, because the club can release messages, and you know what, Wilson's fantastic at it. I think he's brilliant, and so it kind of that I'd rather a player didn't at all than have an account but not run it themselves. But knowing that the players are getting so much shit, you can understand why they're not directly involved from an individual perspective, and I think that understanding that when you see page after page after page after page of monkey emojis and bananas and just how can a player think that that's a healthy situation for them to end up in, just getting all of the abuse, because fans of their own club a lot of the time, it's just it doesn't make sense. And I think from a perspective of players putting themselves in that position, I appreciate when they do. I like it when they do, even if they get a bit of stick. If they've had a poor performance or whatever, getting a bit of feedback's always going to happen. They get it in the stands as well, but not the abuse. That's not right, and that's so. I think it's a maybe 4, but I think it's a 3-day social media blackout. But the sport's encouraging all of the official channels to have. We're going to follow suit from an official account perspective. So from we won't be broadcasting on Twitter. We won't be broadcasting on Facebook. And it's linked with Kick It Out. And I believe that Sky and BT and others will be following the same. So I think we're in a position where we live on social media. We wouldn't be anything without it, and I think that it's really important that that's a platform that we can see people engaging with the people that are interested in their engagements. We want the players to be on these platforms. We want to be able to interact with them. I think it's fantastic when we do, but we as fans need to be in a position, I think, where we know that those players aren't going to get that targeted abuse. And I think really the only way that we can do that, and I think really this is what it's aimed at, is verification of accounts. And if you've got that, you don't need to have your face on your profile picture and your name on your profile name. But what you do need to, personally, what I feel is you should be able to show ID, and then that's your account. You can call your account whatever you want. You can have whatever profile picture you want. You can have a nice sunset and be called whatever you want. But from a perspective of the account itself, well, we've got one dog botherer among the team, haven't we? But
we won't say
anything more about that, Jay.
I'm not from Huddersfield to get bent.
I've been to your house. You're from Huddersfield.
I live in Holmfirth now, not in Huddersfield.
I've seen your house.
I'm going to show. Yes, Teresa. I did know that last one was aimed at me. But this Cooper's amazing on Twitter. He's got a real community spirit, and you get the sense of cares for the fans. Yeah. Absolutely, that is how it feels to me. But what I don't want is for players to end up in a position where they're the ones that are in the firing line and they're getting attacked. And I think what this social media blackout is aimed at doing is bringing attention to the platform owners, the people that manage the platforms, to say we're not happy with what's going on. It's not right, and something has to change.
Gilly,
you know what though?
Saying that, sorry, Jay, just 1 second, man. Saying that, Gilly, we've seen players taking the knee. We've seen all sorts of kind of gestures that they're trying to get across, where racism is shit, and it shouldn't be tolerated on any level, whether it be your nationality, whether it be your skin color, your religion, entity. It should not be tolerated. It's bullshit. But do you think that this is, like, I'm putting this out to the three, do you think that the social media blackout is going to be as any way effective as taking the knee? I personally don't. My opinion is, I don't think a media blackout is going to be any different to taking the knee.
I disagree.
I don't think it is. I think there needs, like Gilly said, I think it needs to be ID verification. You can have whoever you want as your Twitter profile, your Instagram profile, whatever. Have to have verification. And if you're not old enough to have an ID, you're not old enough to have Twitter, in my opinion.
Okay, so whether it'll make a long-term change or not sure about that. But I think more people will notice their timelines not having content that they want to see in it. And I think that's the point. So the thing with verification is what I was going to say before. I'm a bit sort of torn on this, because I agree that, this kind of abuse, racism, all this fucking awful shit should not be happening. Something needs to be done. It can't continue the way it has been. And, people say, they get paid loads of money, they can put up with this, blah, blah, blah. The human beings at the end of the day, nobody should have to put up with that. It doesn't matter what you earn. That's nothing to do with it. You're still a person with feelings, and something should be done. And I think these platforms, if they want these people on, because they're the sort of people that bring people like us onto these platforms, they should be looking after them. Do you know what I mean? My reservation with verification is, you get banned from Twitter, that's it. You're not coming back. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, but why would you be banned from Twitter though? You must be doing something wrong to be banned from
Twitter.
Tough
shit, like it's tough shit.
Ask one of our friends in the pod.
Yeah, but
it happens. People report you for shit, and they'll ban you sometimes, and it can just be malicious reports. You've done nothing wrong. You're verified. You can't get on anymore. What
you won't get banned for nothing though.
No, this is the thing.
If it's offensive, or anything, if you're being offensive, it's like that guy, that Man United fan, who I'd seen had called people, Leeds fans, a couple of our friends as well, certain things, and he's had his account suspended, and it's right because he went. I mean, there were videos, there were tweets, all sorts of shit going absolutely off on one. He said nothing racist, but he said offensive stuff, and absolutely,
people report you.
Exactly. People will. When you've got a platform like that, absolute quilt did, then you're going to get reported, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you call somebody a C-bomb and then you get reported and you're banned for life. You know what I mean? That's a bit strong, is that for me?
Well, in 2019, I called the whole Man United team a shower of CUNTs, and I got banned for 9 months. I got banned for 9 months for calling the Man United squad a shower of.
Isn't that a statement of fact?
It is and it's an opinion. But it's an offensive term. So I got Twitter jailed. I had to make a second account and all that sort of stuff. I'm back.
No, we don't condone any of that.
No. But the thing is, right?
That's what I mean. Going back to if you're verified.
But going back to that, Jay, right? The thing is, if you're going to verify someone, you have to make a new terms and conditions. You won't be allowed back on Twitter if you're a racist prick, or you're harassing someone, or you're doing something. What Smarty got banned for 9 months, that's a kind of thing where they can write it in going, right, if you're just being a general prick, then you're going to get banned for a week.
I think it's because of a spiteful bastard. Also, I appealed it. I appealed the ban, which was a big mistake. On the basis
it was factual.
I should have just taken the rap on the wrist.
Were it 4 days before you appealed?
I can't remember. I was in Spain. I was pissed up. You fucking shower of cunt. Sorry.
Oi. We're bleeding live. Goodbye.
you 9 months it can come back.
Yeah, that's it. ID Smarty.
But I appealed it stupidly. If I'd have just taken it and deleted it, then I'd have been straight back on. But no, fuck off. I'm not having it. And I got banned for 9 months, so,
But that's the thing, that they do need to differentiate between Smarty just being a dick and someone being a racist. And they need, to bring in a suspension bomb. Oh, C-bomb. Sorry, that came into my head when I saw a bomb. When they hit...
Karl, don't start talking about suspension bombs.
So they just need to, just to basically put it down that if you're being a racist dick, you're getting banned for life because we've got your ID and you can't copy someone else's ID. But if you're just being a general knob, we'll suspend you for a week. And I think if they bring in verification, that's where they have to rewrite their terms and conditions. I think they need to do it like that.
Yeah, I think if they did that, then that'd work. You know the rules. You're going to do something that you would get done for in real life.
Yeah.
Then you're gone. Whereas you say something that might upset somebody, but it's not in the terms and conditions of lifetime ban.
The thing is, you say that about calling people things in real life. I call people that in real life. I call you that daily.
There's context, isn't there, for us?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're absolutely right.
Random, that's it.
But you're absolutely right. The point that you're making there, when you're saying if you would get done in real life, well, if you have to show ID, that is the outcome.
Yeah,
you're racist on the internet. When you've had to verify who you are, you're going to get a knock on your door, and that should be the outcome.
So you should.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think
Luke's just made the same point.
By ID is something that won't come in. I think it should come in for that reason alone.
That's not true.
If
That's not true,
this-
because the amount what I'm talking about, Luke's comment, the amount of people from, say, for example, African nations who don't know what racism is, they don't give a shit. They do not give a shit, and they will face no sanctions or anything because they don't care. So that's not technically true.
All their crazy fans.
So yeah, on the whole, yes, but not necessarily or everyone. But yeah, it's an isolation thing. But yeah, I agree.
So we're all in agreement that ID verification should come in, but the T's and C's should change to go in line with the actual fact that you're handing over an ID. You have to have some leeway.
I love the point that Mike P makes. Remember, you can't rely on a guy making a banning decision being a Leeds fan. Just because we hate the scum doesn't mean everybody does.
No.
Yeah.
You can't educate pork.
That's where Smarty went wrong. If that had been a Leeds fan making that decision, he would have
absolutely.
Pogba
would have been banned, and the rest of them would have been banned. Would have been living all
for Smarty.
Twitter. Yeah, Smarty's right. Fucking ban them all.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Oh, we've lost him. He's gone.
Oh, do you know?
Look at his smile. Look at his little smile.
Ago, didn't you?
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Who
There we go.
Was it me or yous that went because
It
you
was
all
you.
left?
It was you.
It was you.
I've had a few tonight. Mine's gone a bit
Dickheads.
It's shit.
But no, it was me, and you're all gone again.
No, that's you.
It looks like he's about to set someone straight there, doesn't he? He's like,
I don't know what's going on here.
Audio's gone as well now. I've just pulled him out of the stream while he recovers. We'll keep an eye on him.
I think it's broken.
We'll start on the next piece, which I think would probably be the upcoming West Brom game. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, we've blabbed on for a while, haven't we? Now
we have actually, yeah.
Smarty, do you want
to
start us off on your thoughts on? It looks like Karl's coming back in, but Smarty, if you want to start us off on the West Brom game, and we'll bring Karl back in and make sure he's working fully.
Brighton game, you mean?
Yeah, I was going to say
Brighton game.
Brighton?
No, it's fine. I'm quite looking forward to this. We owe him one big time, and I think Ben White's back for this one as well, isn't he? I think he had a suspension.
He did, but I think it was a double yellow, wasn't he? So he only missed one.
Yeah, so he's back for this, and we've got a full team, and I'm hoping Rafinha will
double
be back
yellow.
as well.
I don't think it was a parking violation.
Yeah, he's got a parking ticket. Get off.
Banned.
You're banned. You're banned. Get off. Yeah, no, I am quite looking forward to this one. I think people have been saying it for such a long time, but we're absolutely due stuffing someone, and I'm hoping it can be them. You know, it's away as well, and we're playing them down there, aren't we? Yeah. So yeah. I'm hoping with a fully fit team, we go and absolutely pump these bastards and stick it up the Brighton. But no, looking forward to it. Should be a good game.
Cool, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, echoing Smarty, really. I think we need to really give it to these
our rivals.
Yeah, definitely.
You do, yeah. Our rivals for
relegation.
Our relegation rivals, yeah. I mean, we've spoken at length tonight about sort of the way our games evolved and stuff, and I think that's going to show big time against them. They're going to meet a different team to what they met last time on a much better pitch, presumably. I think we'll go straight for the throat with them. I think we've got every reason to be confident after the run that we've had, and why not? Why not get in there, get stuck in, and show them what we're about? I'll be really disappointed if we don't.
So, I'm going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works here because this is not absolutely not where I think my opinion lies.
You're not bringing Luke on, are you?
I'm not bringing Luke on, but what we've got is. Sorry, I've just seen Luke's comment. When Gilly's got a podcast at 8 and playing Ronnie O'Sullivan at 10. Thanks, mate.
That's crucible.
What I was going to ask a question of, and I'm sure I know the outcome here, but I'm going to pose a question anyway. We've played 3 of the, whatever we're going to call them, avoiding the conversation as much as we can, but 3 of the sides that would expect it, yeah. 3 of the sides that themselves would have expected to beat us as a newly promoted team.
Can we call them clinkers?
We can call them clinkers, yes.
They're hanging
Absolutely
on. They're
Let's
clinkers,
do
aren't
it.
they?
Let's do it.
So, the last 3 games, we've taken 5 points from a possible 9 against them. We're unbeaten against any of them at our place. And yet, people will fully expect the team to change. So, Cooper's still missing. But if Rafinha's fit, do you play him?
I do.
Of course you do.
I do.
And this is
Just
the weird
because
thing,
we
isn't it? Of course you do, because he's amazing.
Just
Having said
we
that,
did all right without him, doesn't mean we should do it.
we've just beaten City with 10 versus 12. We've just drawn against Liverpool and Scum, and we're going to make changes to the team. It seems crazy
Costa,
when you put it that way, doesn't it?
It's Costa, though. It's not like he's an absolute world beater. It's Costa. But on the flip side of that, right, if Cooper were available, would you expect Cooper to come back in defence straight away? And the answer, I'm guessing, would probably be yes from all of you as well.
Would I expect him to, or would I want him to?
Would you expect him to?
Yeah.
Of course you would. Now, whether you want him
to loves him.
See, I would expect him to. Would I want him to? Probably not, based on the performances like you just said. However, with Rafinha, I would expect him to, and I would want him to come back in straight away.
Yeah, me too.
And that's the difference.
If Rafinha's not fit, would you want Poveda to come in instead of Costa?
I would.
I'd give him a go, mate.
Do you know
what? At football?
And the rest.
I really rate Poveda, but we had a bit of this before, and we aren't seeing him do a 90 yet. So are we still on that bit of we're easing him in? He's a very small chap, and he's playing against big fellas. He's little Ian. So, it's one of those where it's tough. I don't think Costa had a particularly good game, but equally, he fully knows where he's supposed to be at any given time, and that's crucial in a Bielsa team. You don't learn that overnight, and we've seen that with multiple people. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I really rate him. I want him to get a bit more time. But do you know what? If we were in a position where we're 2-0 up at half time, bring him in. If not, not change it at half time, give it another 10 minutes, and then bring him in and ease him into the games that way. I think that's probably how we look at. I mean, I'm not drawing direct comparisons, but look at the way that Foden's been handled, and he wasn't thrown in just because he looked like he was capable of it. They've managed him, and I think that's really important at that level, that you can't fully build the expectation.
What about?
Seems like a world away from when everyone were raging that Pep didn't play him enough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There he goes.
Mike P's made a good point. Have you noticed how much better Costa's tackling has improved? Yeah, absolutely. He's defensively, very, very good. He tracks his men well as well.
He does, and you lose that if he's not there. And Raf, I would tear him hair. Well, I would have been tearing I must have been tearing my beard out because I don't have any hair.
You're already have, mate. You're already have.
Yeah. But that was through relegation. That's how long ago my hair went.
I got lucky.
I would get frustrated with Rafinha early on in the season, and I mentioned it a couple of times since. And I hold my hands up and say, he is fantastic, and I absolutely I love watching him. I think he's a brilliant player, but he was giving the ball away in daft positions, and he was doing what he does well, but he was doing it too far back. Now he's doing it on the last man, or he's doing it at the defensive line, and if it doesn't come off, well, they're not in on goal immediately, where they were a couple of times previously. So he's learned that, but equally, we've got a Poveda that hasn't had an opportunity to do that yet.
Going back to Smart, just 1 second.
No.
With the whole Poveda thing, do you think he's going to be brought quicker into the frame than Shackleton? Because he's we've seen the whole thing start with Shackleton as well, where he was kind of, breeding him in. Now he's not even there. And it's
I think we've seen a bit more of him this season if Ailing hadn't been available throughout.
Yeah.
We've seen him at right back.
Yeah.
I think Shackleton's not waiting. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jay, I didn't realise you were talking a minute.
Sorry, I was just saying I do have a slight worry that Somerville might leapfrog him. And he might never really get that first team chance.
Shackleton's not a winger, though, is he?
No, I meant perverted.
You look at the workhorses in our team. They're mainly, the wingers because they're overlapping. And obviously the wing backs. The players that you're going to replace more often in the last 20 minutes are going to be your wingers because obviously they're a fresh pair of legs. Whereas that's where Shackleton, you're probably not going to replace your centre mids like Click or whether Dallas or whatever. You're probably not going to replace them because they'll still have plenty in the tank. Or Roberts.
I don't know.
I don't think we'll see much of Shackleton, if I'm totally honest, and it breaks me out to say so because I absolutely love him. But these new lads coming through, Somerville, Geldart, and everything, they just seem to be just that little step above where Shackleton is.
Sort of recruiting the cream of the crop.
From an attacking point of view, maybe defensively, probably different because I think Shaq's more of a defensive player, isn't he? Is he? I don't know.
I think he filled in capably when Ayling was unavailable, but how often does that happen?
But the thing is, as well, we've got to remember Ayling's knocking on now as well. He's no spring
now.
Hold on, no, I'm not about. Yeah, Ayling, not Shackleton. I'm saying like Ayling is knocking on a bit, so.
He's in his 20s.
He's 29 something like that. Yeah, but let's be honest.
Well, Dallas is 30. Is he knocking on?
Yeah, he's knocking on.
We're just about to give Dallas a contract extension. He's got 2 years. We're just about to extend his contract.
Pablo's still rocking it up, and he's fucking nearly getting his bloody bus pass for fuck's sake.
Look,
Carl's written off.
What I'm saying is, right? I haven't written off Ayling. That's not going to be the name of the fucking pod either, right? I haven't written off anyone, right? All I'm saying is, Ayling is knocking on, and do you think Will Shackleton? You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellends, right?
Carl's on phone. He says you're done. Get out, get your gear, and fuck off.
You still talking, eh? You fucking knobs. I'm basically saying, do you think Will Shackleton be around long enough for Ayling to be pushed on for Shaq to get a spot without calling Ayling fucking old? All right.
Well, he won't need to push on. He'll just push Ayling over his Zimmer frame, won't he?
Well, at least it'll stop him doing it. At least it'll stop him doing the Ayling flop, I guess, if he's got his Zimmer frame there. So that'll be all right.
He's going to go in what though in his old age, he'll just.
You know what? I'm not going. You know what? I'm just going to sit here, eat me pasta, and never try and make it.
Mike P makes a great point. Dramé will be back up for Ayling. Dramé looks like men against boys when he's playing in under 23.
I don't really see Shaq as a right back anyway. I mean, as we say, we don't really know where he fits, but I don't really see him as a right back. He's not the player I'd want there.
No. He's a utensil player a bit, isn't he? Like Dallas was.
Utensil player. Well, like a spoon.
Utensil.
A utility, you fucking bellend.
I don't think you need to worry about the name of the pod now, Karl.
I need to go to fucking bed.
Here, kick him out, man. Forget about me. Kick that fucker out.
Utensil. I come out with some right fucking shit, me, don't I? I'm not even pissed.
It's like that sport thing.
That's the thing. I'm not even pissed.
Carl, you're supposed to be hosting.
I'm trying. Right, we're going to move on from here, right? We're going to go on to the city, the next game, Brighton.
Fucking hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, Smarty, we'll go to you first. Try and redeem yourself here a little bit.
You missed it. We've done it. We've done the Brighton game. We need hot topic and we need predictions.
Right, well, I was gone long enough there to not be in
Jesus Christ.
Right, okay.
Hot
topic then. Right. Gilly, gotta go to you. You're going to go with, I'm a Potter. Oh.
Well, we've already got utensils. Are we going to bring pottery into it as well?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Do you know what? I'm going to cut a long story short.
Yeah.
Fuck Harry Potter. I'm not having any of that. I'm going with a hawk.
Jay?
Well, yeah, I mean, we once again coming up against somebody inferior to the Hawk. So I'm going to take the Hawk. And you know that he'll know what to do with a utensil player.
Right, Smarty, what do you think?
He was Mr. Consecutive, wasn't it? Consecutive utensil.
Consecutive instead of consistent, and utensil instead of utility. I don't know. I think I'm going to reset.
Do you even get a choice in the hot topic this week, man? I swear to God, like, go on, Smarty. Who are you picking?
Well, of course, because my favourite utensil is a pepper grinder. Yeah, fuck Potter. He won't give us Ben White, would he? So fuck him, the ugly bastard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've rambled on enough for tonight. We don't need to talk about 10-metre swimming badges and shit, do we? So it's got to be the Hawk.
Well, I'm going to go with the Hawk as well, just to keep it short and sweet. Seeing as
It's a clean sweep.
I'm going to get on to Vodafone about my internet, because that's not the first time that's happened either. Like, I'll be honest with you. So I'm sorry about that, folks. I completely lost the run of it. But anyway, yeah. Look, lads, thanks very much for joining me tonight as well. It's been a pleasure as always for what I was actually connected for.
We're not doing predictions.
We might do predictions.
It's proper throwing him on it, being booted out for 5 minutes.
I don't know where I'm at, like. Honest to God.
You don't know where you're at. You don't know what he's saying.
Oh, Jesus, utensils and predictions. Right, okay, Gilly. I'm not giving any, lads. You're not catching me that off guard. So
come on, Smarty. What's your
go
prediction?
for it, Smarts.
I'm going 3-0 Leeds.
God.
Oh, right.
You know what? You're a bastard.
Obviously 4-1, mate.
I'm a bastard. That's what you've gone as well, isn't it?
It is what I've gone. I've gone 3-0 Leeds.
There's no wrong with that.
That's all right.
Which means Luke's going to complain about not being able to go 3-0 Leeds because we have, because he were going to.
I'm expecting to see 3-0 Leeds and him kicking off in comments.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Actually, what he's mentioned in the comments is
predictions.
Oh, predictions. Titanic sunk, pal.
That's my. Oh.
Jay will always go with 4-1. Smarty and I have gone 3-0, so I'll collect the rest. I suspect Rex will go 8-0 Leeds or 4-0 Brighton, so we'll see. And I'll collect the rest from the group, and then we'll release it out ahead of kickoff as to what people have gone for.
Sounds good.
All right. Lads, thanks very much for covering my arse there. I'll be getting on to Vodafone regarding my internet because, quite frankly, that's a shoddy performance.
I will be fair. I think your performance has been equivalent to theirs.
Very harsh.
Sorry, mate. I do have some final thoughts, though, that I've not mentioned already.
Yeah, but considering my performance was absolutely assisted by that shite talk downstairs in the broadband gaff, like I'm blaming them. I never blame But anyway, fair. Go on. Sorry, Gilly.
I just Orta's finally been recognised by people outside of Leeds as just what a mentalist he is and just how ace he is, and I love that fact. I think it was actually the Liverpool game, not the Scum game. When one of their local rags,
the Liverpool Echo,
was it? So yeah, I mean, I just love that fact. But another one was, I mean, I think it was Orta, Angus, and Rads all had the white roses on, which I fucking love that. I think that's brilliant.
I saw that, man. I was like,
yeah, big time. And I know that we said that we weren't going to mention it, and I'm not going to go into it. But the notes that Angus put into the program about that thing that we're not going to talk about, where he absolutely eviscerated everybody that was involved, every club that had been in. He's so erudite. He's so capable with his language and his approach to not just the terminology and the wording that he uses, but the way that he puts himself across. You can't argue with it. It's brilliant. His program notes are always great, but when stuff like this happens, the club react, and I love the fact that I've got 100% full confidence in the management of our club to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Love it. I think it's great.
Except when it comes to badgers.
Badgers?
Well,
we don't need no stinking badgers.
He did mention that in his program notes where he was like, we found something that lasted less time than the badge that they tried to release, which I thought was brilliant.
There is an account on Twitter that is things that have lasted longer than... It's brilliant. Oh, Smarty, you mentioned it. I've gone round the houses so I didn't mention it. You've gone and mentioned it, just like your C-Bond. Fuck's sake. No,
Whatever about my performance tonight.
I didn't say the full thing.
Go to an end, boys. Jesus Christ.
Can I borrow a kitchen?
Fuck's sake.
Smarty, would you say
that's not going away?
A bit like a Swiss Army knife.
I don't mind. You got to give and you got to take, lads. Hey,
that's what she said.
Way is it?
It's hard when you're taking it all the time, I'd say, Smarty. But sure, anyway, we'll finish on that note.
I'll take whatever you can give me, Carlos. Don't you worry, son.
I'm not sure how to end the show now.
Well, just end it with the charity thing at the bottom. Bren, Adam, and I are going to be doing the charity piece.
Yeah, so Gilly, Adam, and Bren are going to hike up and down the 3 peaks for charity. It's for the MND, charity. And it's a great charity to get involved with. If you want to follow Martin Haywood on Twitter, and maybe that's
not MND.
That's not MND. That's
MND is Rob Burrow.
Squeeze me.
But actually, go follow Martin anyway because he's a great fella.
Yeah, follow who you want.
Yes, follow who you want. It's Twitter. It's a free social platform.
Until we all get banned.
I'm just going to end it now, and I hope you go and give a load of the lads a load of your money because for a very good cause. And if you don't, chances are they won't raise that much. So help them out.
We'll raise out because they're a bunch of pricks.
Oh God!
I got to be honest with you, lads. I've really enjoyed this one tonight, lads. Look, thanks everybody for watching, and I won't be on next week, so you're safe enough.
Cheers, everyone.
Evening.